We all hear in today's selling world that we need to be asking the right questions to understand a potential client's needs. But what a lot of people extract from that idea is to just bombard prospects with random questions here and there, like we're magically suddenly going to understand their exact needs or their exact challenges. But the reality is that we need to have an exact process of the questions that we're asking from beginning to end that are taking someone through a series of thought out questions at different stages of the conversation that will ultimately unveil a prospect's needs. And so in this video, I'm going to show you 5 sales questions to ask a potential client to determine their needs. Check it out. Number 1, tell me more about that challenge. Really simple question. I'm going to assume that you've already engaged the prospect in some kind of a conversation about their challenges or their concerns or their needs. And so what we want to do is think of it like an onion, right? You have the outer layer, the outer skin, which is rough and it's not even really edible and it's not doing anything for you. What you want to do is go so much deeper than that outer layer. You want to get to the inside. And so you want to start to think almost like a psychologist. The initial thing that someone says is almost meaningless. What matters is what comes after. Because let's think about the alternative, what most salespeople do when they're presented with a challenge or a need. Someone says, yeah, I'm really concerned about this. And then the salesperson responds with, well, you are in the right place. We have this incredible new feature, blah, blah, blah. Instead, the professional salesperson just says, tell me more about that, and goes deeper. Keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and gets to the core. Number 2, what's a recent example of that? Now, this is where, again, we're going to start to go deeper. So they've mentioned a challenge, they've told you a little bit more about that. And now what we want to do is take it from academic to reality. Prospects will talk about challenges and they really are academic in nature because it's like, oh yeah, we have this challenge or that challenge. But what you really want is to make it real. And so that's where asking about an example of that challenge, in fact, a recent example of that challenge, is going to make this so much more powerful. If it's a challenge that they're really facing, there should be a recent example of what's going on. And so once they give you an example, it's amazing how it just flips a switch. In my world, I'm asking my prospects about their sales challenges, right? And so they're like, oh yeah, our salespeople, they're not closing at the rate that we'd hope for. And then I say, so can you give me a recent example of that? And then they say, oh yeah, well, let me tell you what happened the other day. And now we're going into what really matters. And they're feeling it. It's also, at the same time, just helping you get so much more insight into what's actually happening. Because let's face it, asking great questions isn't just about understanding their needs, but it's also helping them articulate to you, but also to themselves, the magnitude of these concerns. Number 3, if you could solve this, what would it mean in dollars? Now, I know some people are like, whoa, that is an uncomfortable question. But if you can start to translate the challenges that your prospects are bringing to you, translate that into dollars, then that's where you're literally getting them to tell you the value of the problem. That's where they're getting the actual value of the solution. And so now we always hear the idea of, oh, you've got to be selling on value. What does that really mean? It means asking questions like this that help get the prospect to actually articulate what the prospect actually is dealing with and what that actually translates to in dollars. Now, I already know in the comment section, people who are selling to consumers are like, but consumers, they don't deal with this dollars. That makes sense for corporate. Absolutely not. Consumers, any human being can translate most problems into dollars. And by the way, if there is truly no dollar value on the challenges that you solve, and it's only in a couple of examples, you can still ask a question like, if you could solve this, what would it mean to you? Or if you were able to solve this, what would it mean big picture? And so now you're getting them to really think like, wow, if I were actually able to solve this, what would that really mean? And of course, if you were selling in the B2B space or in most consumer examples, you want to be getting a number in dollars. This is where things completely change. And I, again, use my own example of when I'm talking to a prospect and they're talking about their team's challenges. And I say, look, if you were able to solve this challenge, what would it mean in dollars? And suddenly that's where they come back with, well, if we were able to solve that, I mean, that's at least $5 million in additional sales that we could be achieving. They just said $5 million, right? That's where we're starting to really get to the value. And that's also in their head, they're planting the seed for themselves, the value of working with someone like me. Or in your case, the value of working with you. Number 4, why is this an issue right now? This is really important because so often business and even just human life is about doing triage, right? It's like the doctor who's at a hospital with more patients than they have hospital beds. And so everyone in their lives and in their businesses are always trying to solve more problems than they really have hospital beds to really fix. And so this is why you want to ask a question about the relevancy right now, because sometimes people will talk about their challenges, but then they're like, yeah, we're really more focused on solving that in Q4, or, it's important to us, but I think I've got a couple of other issues that are more important and I want to come back to this one down the road. And on the other hand, if it's really important to them, they're going to be like, yeah, if we do not solve this challenge in the next 3 months, we're going out of business. Or if we don't deal with this, our lives are going to be chaos. Getting someone to really help articulate for you and to themselves why this is important right now is so key. Note that we're not getting them to tell you why working with you is so important right now. That's a salesy kind of an approach. Instead, you're getting them to think about solving the challenge that they mentioned, but at the same time, it's also reinforcing in their head, yeah, this is really important to solve. And oh, by the way, I'm talking to this person who's asked me some really powerful questions to get me to actually articulate why I care about this. Really powerful stuff. You're creating that relationship, you're creating that trust, and ultimately you become the obvious choice for who to work with. Number 5, how is this affecting you directly? This is a really important question because so often challenges are focused, again, on this kind of academic setting where it's affecting the organization. Let's say you solve operational issues for organizations and they're talking about their operational challenges and this and that. And it's all about the organization. It's about everyone else but them. And until we start to understand how this issue is affecting them directly, it's really not targeting in why this person is ultimately going to make a buying decision one way or the other. Because ultimately the data shows that all buying decisions ultimately are made based on emotion. And then we use the data and the logical features and benefits to justify that emotional decision. But ultimately, it's got to be affecting them personally. So you want to be asking just a simple question with some really solid tonality, something like, hey, so I really appreciate what you've told me so far. How would you tell me that this is affecting you directly? And now they just go into it and start to tell you how it's actually affecting them. And it's crazy how when you really get into this, if you've got them with you, now they're telling you how it's going to affect their job. If they don't solve this, the organization is in trouble, right? All of these different things. Or even if it's in a consumer example, right? How is this affecting you directly? Hey, if we don't solve these issues, I'm really in trouble. Getting to that level and going deeper and deeper, again, getting to that core of the onion. And ultimately, the core of the onion is, what does the prospect care about most? And the answer, of course, is themselves. Bonus question number 1. Why do you say that? Now, I've already given you the 5 questions, but I want to give you 2 other really useful questions that you can use to even go deeper. So often, even when people are using this process, people who are in my academy and they're using the process, they still don't really get to the center of the onion. They don't get to the center at the core of the problem. And that's because they're not taking the conversation deep enough. So when a prospect says something that kind of flips a switch, you just simply ask, why do you say that? Or if they say something to you that doesn't entirely make sense, just ask the question, why do you say that? Or help me understand why you said that. And now they're going to go even deeper, even deeper to the center, and now you're going to get more and more into understanding exactly what they care about. So I'll give you an example. Let's say someone says something that's a little bit vague, right? They're like, oh yeah, if we don't solve this, things are going to get crazy around here. And so you respond with, crazy. Help me understand, why do you say that? And now they're like, oh, well, because of this and that. And now you're going deeper and deeper, again, getting to what they really ultimately care about. Bonus question number 2. Unpack that for me. So this isn't really a question, right? It's a statement. Another way of getting deeper into what they really care about. So again, unpack that for me is one of my new favorite questions that I'm using. I actually learned this from a salesperson when I was working with, and they said, I use the phrase unpack that for me, and it's just a really disarming way to get a prospect to go deeper in what they just said. So again, prospect says, hey, we're really concerned about our marketing challenges right now, and in particular, our cost per click really isn't where we want it to be. And all your response is, unpack that for me. And now they go deeper and deeper. It's amazing how much you can really get from someone just by when they tell you something that you don't fully understand, you just say something like, hey, unpack that for me. And now they go deeper. They literally unpack their luggage and they show you all the baggage on the inside. Using these questions takes some practice, but keep going deeper. Don't accept what people say on face value. Go to the core of what they ultimately care about. So there are the 5 sales questions to ask a potential client to determine their needs. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an awesome free training on the data-driven approach to help you crush your sales goals. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more sales at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking my face right about here to get access to a new video just like this one each week.